Hello again, artist Charles Wolf here, back again for another painting lesson. Today we are going to be working on a wonderful little landscape. I'll be using acrylic paint today, like I normally do, and before you I have my palette laid out. Starting from left to right, I have Mars Black, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Red Oxide, Raw Umber, Cobalt Blue, and a little bit of the Titanium White. We're going to start today with a flat wash brush, nice flat moppy brush, really great loose bristles that move around really nicely. And today I think I'll paint this entire painting using just this flat wash brush. You only need one brush to do this painting with me today. We're going to start here with some Cobalt Blue, and we're going to mix in some of the Titanium White as we go along. You can see that I'm blending the two colors together, but I'm allowing the brushwork to remain very visible and active. The reason why I'm doing this is it creates a very nice, vibrant effect. Wonderful, painterly look to it. Grabbing a touch more of the Cobalt Blue, I want the blue to be darker to the top. We want the sky to become lighter as we get closer to the horizon down in the middle of the painting. There I am adding some more of the white. I'm going to keep adding white as I get closer and closer to that horizon line. I'm also simultaneously blocking in some of my basic tree shapes. As you can see, the tree line that I'm forming here starts high on the left-hand side and is going to get closer to the horizon line and lower down on the right-hand side. This will immediately create a great deal of depth in my painting. As things get farther away from you, as they get closer and closer to that horizon line, they're going to get smaller and smaller. By using very different sizes, we can create a great deal of depth and realism in our paintings. Good rule of thumb is, as you get half again to the horizon line, everything needs to become about half the size. So if something's standing really close to you, it's going to take up a good deal of the canvas. As you get closer to that horizon line in your canvas, things need to get smaller as they get away from you. Lots of white there at the end. And I think we'll put in some clouds with this white. I'm going to turn my brush so that I'm using the thinner edge. Quick horizontal motions here. Quickly scrubbing this into the canvas. Today I'm working on an 8 by 10 inch canvas board. These are wonderful little boards to practice on. I really highly recommend them if you're starting out. Great for beginners. And you can buy a whole package for not very much. They are wonderful in that you can use an 8 by 10 inch picture frame, just a normal one. You can frame them right away, so you don't have to go spend a lot of money getting it custom framed. You can simply grab any picture frame, it'll work. Whenever you're framing a painting, remember that you don't want the glass on the front of the painting, you want the glass behind it. Alright, bringing in some more of the white. Here I have this nice cloud layer. You can see that I'm allowing the brightest parts, the highlights, to be at the top of this cloud formation. Let's do another layer a little higher than that. Just lighten the whole thing up a little more. Touch more blue here. And back into the white I go. Quickly blending this lower layer. Clean your brush off, and then we're going to grab some of the Mars Black and the Cadmium Yellow Medium. Black and yellow make a wonderful shade of olive green, so we're going to start with that today. We want to use more yellow than black, but we do want this mixture to be quite dark. This first layer should be on the darker side. Note that as I'm placing this layer, some of the white already on the sky is going to mingle with the green, and so it's going to become lighter at the top. As I get farther down here at the front, I want everything to be quite dark. This is the background base layer for this tree line. We need it to be quite dark, so when we put the highlights over top of the dark, it shows through really nicely. Do note that this olive green color, for some reason, is not translating as accurately as I would like it to on my camera. Nice olive green. It looks a little more muted here in the recording than it does in real life. I hope that I can adjust the coloration so that at the beginning and at the end do pay special attention to the tree line and see exactly what the colors look like. It's a little more muted and faded looking here. It is a nice olive green. This is a fall painting after all, so it's not a big deal. A little more yellow there. And one more layer here at the top. Really want this tree line to be quite tall. And you can see that I'm getting smaller and smaller as I get closer to my horizon line. And automatically we have a great deal of depth. A little more of my dark mixture. Quite dark here at the bottom. Where the shadow of all these trees are forming. Trees are often lightest at the top, where the sun can get at them. Beneath, of course, they're going to be much darker. This is sort of an impressionist style painting. I'm creating an impression of these trees. I'm not drawing in all the individual leaves or all the individual trunks. I'm actually not putting in any of the trunks today. We are simply playing with color. A little more of the dark. Here I'm just tapping. With this tapping motion, I'm cleaning up the bottom edge. We don't want it to be a perfectly straight line, so we need to break the tops of these trees, have some higher parts, some lower parts, etc. Okay, I'm going to go right into the pure cadmium yellow. This is a fall painting after all, so we want some nice yellows and reds and oranges to be happening. Some more yellow highlights here. Lots of paint, lots of color on my brush. Adding a little more black to the mixture. Working on this next layer here. That gets a little bit too light. We're going to go back in with some darker colors and cover some of that up. Let's mix up some cadmium yellow medium, red oxide, and raw umber with a clean brush. The umber is a nice earthy tone, helps to soften and slow down the intensity of the red, makes it a little warmer, a little darker, more earthy. Yeah, look at the fire in that one. Some nice highlights of red and orange. A few in the distance here. Let's mix together some of the cadmium yellow medium and the red oxide. This is a brighter orange. We're not going to be using as much of the umber now. Putting in some highlights and some wonderful zingy colors. Looking for variety over everything else. Okay, back to my Mars black and cadmium yellow medium mix. Back to my olive green and again darker. And we're going to put this in. Got a little too light. This needs to be nice and dark at the base. So tapping in the darkness again helps the light show through better. And I am allowing the dark to creep over some of the highlights, and so it pushes them back farther in space. Helps them sit a little more naturally. A little more of the Mars black now on my brush. More black than the yellow. Tapping quickly. We really need this to be nice and dark. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, with the dark color still on my brush, just make a horizontal line here, marking in sort of a bank of what will be a river soon enough. Let's mix together some cadmium yellow and raw umber. Nice earthy yellow tone. And we're going to tap this in right about here, overlapping some of the darker black line we just put in. And we'll jump to the other side and start to put it in somewhat randomly up here on the right as well. A little more yellow. Each time I go back to reload my brush, I'm going to change the mixture slightly. Maybe a little more of the white here, make a nice light lemon yellow. Very creamy yellow. Some intense highlights over here on the right, where the sun is shining most directly. Lots of umber now. Grabbing a little bit of the Mars black, the cadmium yellow, touch of the red in there as well. Back to my olive green here. Now some darks. The key is to vary these colors. You can see that I'm lifting up slightly with each of these brush strokes. So I'm pressing in and then lifting up a little bit to create the effect of blades of grass. Some more of the yellow. Right into the red and umber mixture there. Touch of the orange as well. Now back to the lighter highlights of the light yellow. You can see every single time I go back to my palette, I'm changing the mixture slightly. We really want to have some nice variety here in the foreground. I'm leaving that patch of white where we're going to put in the water for the river. Marking in the outer edges first, and then we can go back over soon enough and put in the water. Here I'm just using pure cadmium yellow. A little more of the dark mixture. Next we'll mix together cadmium yellow medium, red oxide, and raw umber with a clean brush. Nice crimson accents and hints. Bring some more here at the foreground. And then fill it in with the olive green mixture. And some more of the cadmium yellow. Again, lifting upwards lightly. Bringing in a few small highlights here in the back, on the other side of the bank. These will show up nicely because of how much dark we have behind them. More raw umber, more red oxide mixed together. Clean brush. And we'll put some of these red highlights on the other side as well. And a few more over here. Very nice for variety, great earthy tone. Playing the red against the green is a nice complementary excitement. Okay, let's go back for some titanium white and a touch of the cobalt blue. Mostly white. Again, just a touch of the cobalt blue. We're going to have this river reflect some of the sky. Maybe a little more blue. That's better. Using horizontal motion to brush this in. Grabbed a touch of the Mars Black to darken this up. Put in some of these shadows that are reflecting into the water. These are going to be lighter than the actual shadow colors. And perhaps more realistically, I could incorporate some more of the greens, but I wanted it to be distinct from the bank. You can experiment with that on your own. Have some of the trees reflected into the water. I didn't want this water to be too much of a feature of this painting, just kind of be there, but it didn't need to be the focal point necessarily. Keep the focus on the trees, so I'm going to keep it very simple. Bit of the cadmium yellow medium there, added into my mixture. This water is a little on the light side. We'll need to add in a little more blue, I think. But first, we need to get these shadows looking correct. Just tapping there. Let me fix my palette here. There we go. Now you can see again. And here is some more of the Mars black. Some nice shadows here. Okay, back into the Cobalt Blue. Need the blue to be more of a presence as it is reflecting the sky. Again, if you had lots of time, you could spend a good deal of time reflecting all of the highlights, the reds and the oranges and the yellows and the greens into the water. I'm doing a quick version of this painting, so I won't spend the time doing that, but it's something that you should definitely explore if you have the time. And a little bit more of the contrasting color here. The darker gray mix. Okay, into the cadmium yellow and the red. A little bit of the umber there too. Reestablish this bank line back here. I lost it in a few places. And back to my cadmium yellow mixture. Some nice highlights there. Mixing up some more of the olive green. We'll put this green on this side as well in a few spots. And here is the final piece. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my Etsy at etsy.com/shop/impulsiveartistry. Have a great day. Please subscribe.